Got a favorite fast food place? You might change your mind by the end of this video. And don't take our word for it, these former employees know all the dirty secrets.
There are a lot of foods at McDonald's that get a bad rap. It is fast food after all. The chicken nuggets have long been under fire for their questionable ingredients, and they've somehow managed to squeeze 19 ingredients into something as simple as French fries. But every restaurant has to have at least a few safe menu options, right? One item that has long been touted as a smart choice is the Filet-O-Fish, but some Reddit posters claiming to be ex-McDonald's workers are doing their best to blow that option out of the water. An insanely popular Reddit post asking fast food workers what customers should never order has garnered nearly 16,000 responses, and a large chunk of those responses have been dedicated to the beloved fish option from the Golden Arches. But the problem with the Filet-O-Fish isn't what you might think. It's not that the always perfectly square patty isn't actual fish, it is. McDonald's uses wild-caught Alaska pollock from certified sustainable fisheries. Sounds great, right? So what's the problem?
Give me back that Filet-O-Fish! Give me that fish!
Turns out that wild-caught fish still might not be fresh at all. In fact, it could have been sitting around for hours before you take that first bite. One user said, "No one orders Filet-O-Fish, so at my store they sat in the cabinet forever." Another person called it the fast food equivalent of playing Russian roulette. Of course, you can always request to have yours made fresh, as many posters recommended, but even that isn't always a sure solution. Many posters claim a fresh patty is just one that's fresh out of the microwave, after having sat for a long time in the warmer. And even if you really are getting a fresh cooked patty, that Filet-O-Fish may still be completely questionable, as one Reddit poster who claimed to be an 8-year veteran of McDonald's unveiled even more dirt on this seafood favorite. The patties had a tendency to hang around well past their use-by timer. Similarly, the tartar sauce could go through several days sitting out in basically room temperature conditions. Ew, not enough to turn you off? No worries, he kept going, claiming the fryer oil for the fish fillets was rarely cleaned. He finished up with, "Don't get steamed buns, no one ever cleans the steamer." Despite all this, some loyal Filet-O-Fish fans won't be swayed. As somebody who regularly orders it, I have to disagree. It's by far the best fish sandwich that any fast food place has. According to McDonald's, the sandwich is still a popular seller both in the US and other countries around the world. Something tells us that won't change anytime soon.
Over at Reddit, former restaurant employees were asked what single menu option they would recommend customers never eat. You might think that McDonald's employees would call out the Big Mac or some other obviously unhealthy fast food offender. Surprisingly though, one self-described former McDonald's employee actually went with the sweet tea, writing, "McDonald's sweet tea, pound of sugar per gallon." Yikes! Okay, a pound per gallon is a slight exaggeration, but not by much as it turns out. Sure, we all knew that sweet tea has sugar in it. It wouldn't be sweet otherwise, but many people might not realize just how much sugar we're really talking about here. If you take a look at McDonald's nutritional information, you'll find the sugar content is actually pretty staggering. A small has 21 grams of sugar, a medium has 28 grams, and a large has a whopping 38 grams. So what does that mean? Well, according to the American Heart Association, kids should have no more than 21 grams per day. Women should limit themselves to 25 grams of sugar per day, while men should have no more than 36 grams. So a single large sweet tea would give you more sugar than you're supposed to get from all sources in an entire day.
I see right here it says I shouldn't have given you sugar.
The British Heart Foundation agrees that sugar is bad and specifically calls out sugary drinks as one of the biggest sources of unnecessary sugar content in many people's diets. Sugary drinks are especially bad because they usually offer no nutritional value to offset the intake of sugar. That large sweet tea? It has 160 calories, and 152 of those are just from sugar, meaning they are completely empty calories that add nothing else. Still need more context? Let's take that large sweet tea and the 38 grams of sugar it has and compare it to some other sweet treats. For example, consider the sugar bomb known as the Cadbury Cream Egg. When The Independent reported on just how horribly sugary a Cadbury Cream Egg was, people were outraged, and it only has 26 grams.
This is your brain. And this is your brain on sugar sticks.
Visible Sugar has some more unbelievable stats. A standard-sized package of Twix has 24 grams of sugar, a Butterfinger has 24 grams, an Almond Joy has 21 grams, and a Kit Kat has 22 grams. That means those candy bars don't just have less sugar than a large sweet tea, they have less sugar than a medium one too. And here's the thing. No one expects candy bars to be good for you, so at least everyone's aware of the fact that they're shoving a ton of sugar in their faces when they eat one. But when you're standing at the drinks machine or the menu board, it's easy to think you're making the healthy choice getting the tea over the soda. While that's technically true, it's not because the sweet tea is remotely good for you, it's only because soda is even more terrible. It's like cutting your arm off instead of your head. It's not as bad, but it's still very bad.
'Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off.
So what should you do? Opt for the unsweetened tea, as that has 0 grams of sugar. Of course, not everyone likes the taste of unsweetened tea, so another option is to mix 1/4 sweet tea with 3/4 unsweetened tea. You'll get only a fraction of the sugar and still have a sweeter drink that's more palatable to anyone who's not a fan of straight unsweetened iced tea. Alternately, pick up a reusable water bottle and keep your own drink in the car. There are plenty of options when it comes to mixing up a low-sugar, low-calorie drink to keep in your own fridge at home. And while it might not seem like much, it's these little changes that end up going a long way in making you and your family healthier.
It's safe to say we've all had Chicken McNuggets at some point in our lives.
That lovely girl caught your eye? 20-piece McNuggets are only $4.99. We offer to share them.
That's pretty smart.
For most of us, these tender morsels are but a fond childhood memory. For others, they're still in heavy rotation as a grown-up guilty pleasure. Let's be honest, we've all had those nights where we just couldn't be bothered to whip up a home-cooked meal. Those are the nights Chicken McNuggets are just what the doctor ordered. Well, maybe not the doctor. According to several McDonald's employees, you might want to think twice before you order your next box of Chicken McNuggets. One curious Redditor recently asked fast food employees, "What should we not order at your restaurant? Why not?" Here's what one former McDonald's employee had to say. "If you order, especially chicken nuggets, just ask for them fresh. Otherwise, they've just been sitting in their container in the heat." In fact, this former employee goes on to reveal, they have a timer, but 9 out of 10 times when that timer goes off, people just reset the timer instead of making new ones. This could go on until all the nuggets are sold. Not such an appetizing prospect now, is it? By now, you're probably wondering, how long do these unsold, unclaimed nugs sit around in the McDonald's kitchen? And if they're kept at the right temperature, does it even matter how long? Well, the answer to that is rather tricky. According to research done by the National Advisory Committee on Microbiological Criteria for Foods, the limits for food safety are technically met as long as McNuggets aren't sitting out for more than 8 hours. And as long as they're kept at a temperature above 135 degrees. Okay, that all sounds reassuring enough, but then the research goes on to say that nuggets kept at 140 degrees are fine, quote, indefinitely. Indefinitely? It turns out that's just a matter of safety, because that's the temperature needed to prevent bacteria from growing on the food. The committee's other findings are pretty icky too. About a quarter of food service establishments surveyed by the FDA weren't in compliance with the 140-degree temperature mark. And if the temperature drops much below that number, the committee claims that food in hot holding becomes the perfect place for microorganisms to grow. Yum? No. 5 degrees can mean the difference between food that's fine and food that's going to be growing all sorts of nastiness. And different environmental factors can increase the risk of food dropping below that safety margin. Some Redditors even claim eating at McDonald's isn't so much about eating fresh, but about eating something that's, quote, less old. Others claim there's a huge difference between food that's just been made and food that's been sitting out for an indefinite amount of time. Frankly, the sheer number of McDonald's employees who claimed not to care about hold times is a little disturbing. The problem is, a customer might suddenly order a few hundred chicken nuggets at any given moment. After all, they're perfect for feeding an after-school group or Little League team. So having a bunch of nuggets at the ready makes sense from a business point of view. McDonald's has fought an uphill battle for years regarding the quality of their Chicken McNuggets. The fact that they're often left sitting out for hours on end really doesn't help matters. Our advice? Skip the McNuggets, or at least ask that your order is made fresh. It'll be worth the wait, and patience is always a virtue.
If you're one of those people who just can't get started in the morning without getting something good to eat, McDonald's can be a tempting option. It's quick, it's delicious, and it's affordable, so it seems to check all the boxes. Just one problem, you should never ever order it. Sorry, So why shouldn't you start off your day with Mickey D's? According to former and current employees who spoke out about it on Reddit, there are plenty of reasons, and some of them are pretty gross. I have seen how they prep that food. I have seen on more than one occasion the guy cleaning the bathroom without gloves on goes into the kitchen area and starts putting food on the grill. I'd also like to tell you that this was at just one McDonald's, but nope, I have seen this done at quite a few. Those aren't the only arguments Redditors have against McDonald's breakfast items either. Another pointed out if you think you're getting something decently healthy when you order sandwiches with egg whites, you might want to think again as those healthy egg whites are cooked in butter. The egg white delight is just as unhealthy, if not more so, than regular round eggs. The amount of butter, at least in my store, sprayed on the grill must up the calorie and fat count like crazy. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to potential issues for healthy eaters. The shocking amount of fat, calories, and sodium that's in many of McDonald's breakfast offerings adds up very fast. Take their triple breakfast stacks biscuit, then check out how much total fat is in that one sandwich. 65 grams, or 99% of your daily recommended intake. That includes 27 grams of saturated fat, which is 137% of your recommended daily value. How about a simple and popular steak, egg, and cheese biscuit? You're ordering 530 calories and 30 grams of fat. And we won't even get into the dietary nightmare that's served up with dishes like the big breakfast or the hot cakes and sausage, because frankly, you don't want to know. When it comes to healthy, it turns out that the best options on the breakfast menu are also the ones that will help you avoid contaminated kitchens, dirty hands, and gross butter substitute, the fruit and maple oatmeal, and the fruit and yogurt parfait. Stick with those, or better yet, skip Mickey D's completely for your morning meal, and maybe wait to get something from their lunch menu instead, no matter how irritating that is.
I don't want lunch. I want breakfast.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry too.
Unless you want to drive your nearest Starbucks barista up the nearest tree, there's one thing you should never order, and that's any item off their so-called secret menu. Turns out Starbucks employees have very good reason to hate the secret menu. Here's why. It should go without saying, but Starbucks employees prefer customers who don't make their jobs miserable. They want customers like this guy.
You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.
So it's safe to say they don't want customers like this guy.
Venti is a large coffee.
Really? Says who? Fellini?
How much is that? Here's a 10.
Do you accept lira, or is it all euros?
You know what? Just
now?
keep the change.
And you know what makes a Starbucks barista really unhappy? When somebody orders off the so-called secret menu. In fact, the whole idea of the secret menu is one of baristas' biggest pet peeves, judging by the number of Starbucks employees who have taken to Reddit to vent. One barista wrote, "There's nothing more annoying than getting requests for drinks from the secret menu. That's because baristas are only trained to prepare items that are part of the official menu. If you want an item that isn't there, be clear and specific. Don't waltz up to the counter and bark out a random drink order that someone on the internet probably made up."
May I have a half-calf, decaf, mint mocha latte, foam on the bottom, served in a flower vase, and if y'all got some green food coloring back there, throw it in.
Baristas want to make one thing clear. There is no secret menu. So don't get mad if a Starbucks employee doesn't know how to make every random beverage that catches your fancy. True, some Starbucks locations have adopted secret menu creations as unofficial drinks, posting handmade signs that encourage customers to do some off-menu ordering. In fact, customer creations have occasionally made it onto Starbucks' official menu. To celebrate the Frappuccino's 20th anniversary in 2015, 6 customer-created beverages temporarily became bona fide Starbucks products.
I like to call this my victories are sweeter together caramel frappuccino with extra drizzle.
There's occasionally crossover between discontinued menu items and secret menu requests. But please note, even if a drink was once on the menu, that doesn't mean your barista will know how to make it. Plus, discontinued drinks can only be made if your Starbucks still has the ingredients. Thrillist talked to a few employees about the secret menu, and it's not all bad news. Some of them said they didn't mind when a customer orders something off menu, as long as they know all the details on how to make it. In other words, don't barge in and order a butterbeer frappuccino like some big bad boss person.
Put that coffee down.
Instead, order a cream frappuccino with 3 pumps caramel, 3 pumps toffee nut, and a caramel drizzle. Yeah, be that person. Anyone who's ever worked in the service industry knows it can get monotonous. So getting a request to make something different isn't always a bad thing. But again, be clear when you order. There are limits though. Baristas won't blend any brownies, cookies, or cakes into your drink. Not even this guy.
I'm an artist, and coffee is my canvas. It can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be.
There are a few practical reasons for the no food rule. For one, it can potentially muck up equipment. Cleanup is also a time-consuming mess. Then there's the matter of allergies. After all, one customer's dream frappuccino can easily become another customer's visit to the ER. Another reason Starbucks won't mix food into your beverage? Well, it's unfair to the next person in line, who would have to wait for baristas to clean up the aftermath. Even if your order is specific, making a special drink takes longer to make than a menu item, so don't get too crazy during rush times. You might not mind waiting 10 minutes for your extra special drink, but it will drive the person in line behind you totally nuts.
Keep on messing with me, see what happens. I was trying to look out for why you getting closer, bitch. Why you getting closer? Get up out my
Tanya.
What?
Tanya, this is a cup of coffee.
Since 1983, Panda Express has been doing a brisk business in American Chinese cuisine, serving up popular entrees like Beijing beef and honey walnut shrimp. But according to employees, there's one signature dish you should never order. You may want to sit down for this. Orange chicken. It's Panda Express's signature dish.
I love orange chicken.
It's delicious.
We love orange chicken!
That's why we find it so surprising that some Panda Express employees claim you should never, ever order it. But how can that be? According to the company's official website, Panda Express served up 80 million pounds of orange chicken in 2016, and it's easily the chain's most popular entree.
Yep, there's nothing tastier than Panda Express orange chicken.
But in 2016, one Panda Express employee made a troubling admission on Reddit. Sometimes when the food gets dried up, we put uncooked sauce on it to make it more moisturized. This employee also claimed managers are okay with the sneaky practice, so long as customers don't see it happen. Obviously, there are some major problems here. Nobody wants to eat chicken that's been sitting out for a long time, and food handlers shouldn't be doing anything they wouldn't want customers to see. So when is the food at Panda Express at its least fresh? According to another employee, if you come to Panda Express at like 3 or 4, you'll be getting the food that's been out the longest. So now you know. Then again, even if your order of orange chicken happens to be as fresh as can be, you still might want to think twice before ordering it. You know it's super sweet and goopy, but how unhealthy is it? In 2018, Pei Wei Asian Kitchen embarked on the Way Forward, a clean label initiative that called on restaurants to be completely transparent when it comes to their ingredients.
Pei Wei's Way Better Orange Chicken is made with fresh, house-cut, all-white meat chicken, real orange slices, and it's made fresh to order.
Basically, the company acknowledged that customers have a right to know what they're buying and putting in their bodies.
Our guests definitely wanted more options, more flavors, better ingredients, higher quality offerings from our restaurants.
They even published the full list of ingredients for their Way Better Orange Chicken and challenged other restaurants to do the same. Pei Wei even called out Panda Express by name, but the chain didn't come forward with their list of ingredients for orange chicken. So Pei Wei did some homework and tweeted the list for them. Honestly though, they could have just posted the nutritional information for a similar effect. One serving of Panda Express's orange chicken contains 23 grams of fat and 490 calories. Then there's the whopping 19 grams of sugar and 820 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half the sodium you should be getting in a day, according to the American Heart Association. And those numbers are just for the orange chicken. An order of fried rice more than doubles the sodium and calories. If you're craving orange chicken, it's actually super easy to make at home. You just need a few simple ingredients like spices, oranges, orange juice, chicken, and chicken broth. Yes, it really is that easy. So why pay someone else to make it for you?
Everybody loves a fun trip to Sonic for some burgers and a shake. But if you're a fan of Sonic's ice cream, we have some bad news for you. Because according to multiple employees and ex-employees, that ice cream is a bad idea. Why? Strangely, the problems seem to have started in 2010, when Sonic began serving actual ice cream. Prior to that, their menu offered a soft serve item that wasn't actually ice cream at all. According to CBS News, Sonic's CEO at the time, J. Clifford Hudson, was forthright about the fact that the item they were phasing out wasn't really ice cream. The new ice cream is richer, it is thicker, it is creamier than our current soft serve, which is what we have to call it because that's what it has been, a non-ice cream, lower-fat dairy product. Serving real ice cream instead of product would seem like a good thing, but according to a Reddit thread featuring a number of Sonic employees and managers, real ice cream causes a lot of problems behind the scenes. That's because the downward-facing blades on the blender Sonic uses to make their ice cream blast tend to get gummed up quick, especially when customers add in a bunch of candy and other toppings. So the blender has to work extra hard. So hard, in fact, that it often causes the cups to burst. Most employees start over with a new cup, but that takes time and extra effort, so some actually take the shortcut of just using a second cup, meaning the remains of the first cup just get blended into the mix. That papery texture in your blast? It might be actual paper. And there could also be chunks of plastic in there from the cup's lid. As one former manager wrote, the blast by far are the worst to make, and the more complicated you order it, the harder it is to make, and the more I hate you. Even if you don't get bits of your cup blended into your blast, there's always the chance you'll have it made by someone like the Redditor who admitted when it came time to refill his candy station, it was just easier to use bare hands instead of the proper ladles. And others say the ice cream isn't all it's cracked up to be. One former employee describes ice cream that comes in bags marked 10% real ice cream, which are then poured into what's essentially ice cream tanks. Yum? That general process was supported by another employee who took to Reddit to share just how bad it could get. They say they worked at one location that just about never cleaned the machine out. We added new milk into the old milk over and over without first dumping the old milk out.
Milk was a bad choice.
In 2018, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution ran an article about a local Sonic that proved just how gross a less-than-sanitary restaurant is. Among the violations, mold in the ice machine and ice cream mix being stored in a hand sink well above the correct temperature. They're definitely not alone in it either. Food Quality and Safety says keeping ice cream, frozen yogurt, and other dairy machines clean and sanitized is one of the biggest health and safety challenges many restaurants face.
The inspector also noted black mold had fallen into the unprotected soft ice cream mix.
But even if you get a Sonic blast that has been properly made in a clean and sanitary environment, there's also the fact that it's just really bad for you. Depending on what type of blast you order and what toppings you choose, it's possible to get a dessert that has more calories than you should be eating in an entire day. The peanut butter and cookie dough, triple chocolate, turtle pecan, and even the banana split master blasts clock in at around 2,000 calories each, and they're all hovering around 100 grams of fat as well. The peanut butter and cookie dough has an almost unthinkable 144 grams of fat. The shakes aren't much better, and even the basic hot fudge sundae has 520 calories and 26 grams of fat. So next time you're at Sonic, do the smart thing and stick to the burgers and fries. For once, they may actually be the healthier option.
When it comes to hot and hearty fast food meals, Wendy's signature chili is a classic and filling choice. So why are some former Wendy's employees warning people not to order it?
Like chili comes in large and small, both for the dining room, and the cups are too cold.
The answer may surprise you, as it turns out that fresh cup of chili may not be so fresh after all. That's because, according to a self-described former Wendy's employee who spilled the beans on a Reddit Ask Me Anything thread, the chili is actually made with last night's leftover hamburgers. They take the dried-out beef patties that have been on the grill too much long and put them in a steamer. Then at the end of the night, they mash up all those dried out and rehydrated steam patties and put them in the fridge. Then the next morning, chili mix is made and all that old meat is plopped in there and left to simmer for a while. Needless to say, not everyone was thrilled with the idea of eating yesterday's abandoned meat, especially after another self-identified former employee revealed that the burgers were left over to begin with because they were too burnt to be sold. Worse, they allegedly often sat out all day before being chucked in the fridge. The gross part to me is that it was hours, usually a full shift, before they were removed, and froze the leftover burgers. So next time, maybe just try the salad instead.
No one knows what really goes on in the kitchens of Burger King better than the staff. So a few workers, past and present, responded to an Ask Reddit thread to tell us exactly that. These are the menu items you should never order from Burger King, according to the people who know exactly how they're made. Have you ever had a Whopper Jr. from Burger King? Neither have most people. If you're going all in on Whopper flavor and ingredients, why not just get the full-size Whopper? It's not like you're eating healthy anyway. Apparently, the little guys take a while to make. That means instead of making one fresh when it's finally ordered, you're likely looking at an old, crusty Whopper Jr. coming out of the kitchen. At least at some Burger King establishments. Take it from a supposed Burger King employee who said, Never, never, never buy the Whopper Jr. Not enough people buy them, so they just sit out and go bad. They take too long to make fresh, and managers get a bonus check when they have a low enough time. So they tell the workers to just use the super old ones that have gotten nasty.
What are you talking about?
Of course, there are Burger King locations where the freshness of the Whopper Jr. isn't an issue. According to another alleged employee, their Whopper Jr. patties at a particular Canadian location are the only part that sits out for a while, so the bun and all the toppings are still fresh. The meat might not be fresh, but at least it's freshly assembled. Another alleged employee told a similar story, but this time he offered a solution, saying, "We didn't serve anything that was gross or unhealthy, but the less popular products might not be fresh off the grill or fryer. I wouldn't order them unless you specify fresh ones. Just be ready to wait an extra 2 to 6 minutes depending on what's cooking." So there you have it. Burger King is all about having your food your way, so it shouldn't be a problem if your way is fresh, right? The Whopper Jr. isn't the only unpopular menu item at Burger King. Not surprisingly, there aren't a whole lot of people heading to Burger King for their fish either. It may sound unappetizing to eat an old hamburger patty, but eating an old fish patty seems about 1,000,000 times worse. An alleged employee shared, "That is sitting in its little mesh pan above the fryer for hours on end. Dare I say days, a batch of 8 or more just waiting for the person a day that will order 1 or 2.
I feel like I'm going insane. This is fucking crazy.
On a different Reddit thread, another supposed employee had the same warning saying, "I worked at a BK for a few days in college and the fish was the worst offender. We had the same 2 or 3 fish fillets in the warmer for entire days sometimes." Granted, this isn't exactly coming from a longtime Burger King employee, so we'll take that with a grain of salt. But it doesn't take too long to notice what food hasn't moved in hours. And that's not the only employee to notice it. Unfortunately for Burger King, Business Insider placed the chain's fish sandwich in 5th place out of 7 fast food fish sandwiches, claiming the sandwich was flat and the fish was gray. The moral of the story, at least at Burger King, is to only order popular items, otherwise they may have been sitting there for a while. Then again, maybe you don't mind it if your fish sits out for days.
Unfortunately, it turns out that sweet ice cream dreams can turn into something less palatable. BK staff on Reddit have previously reported that the dessert machines are rarely cleaned and advised staying away from them. They claimed that their mixes were made with ingredients past their best-by dates, though that remained unconfirmed. However, reports have emerged that some locations have flunked health inspections after their poorly cleaned ice cream machines were found to harbor mold.
Hey, chicken! You got a lot of nerve hanging around with those french fries, man. Maybe you want to be a french fry, huh?
Maybe I do.
This delectable innovation from Burger King was introduced in 2005 to attract a more spendy customer base that might be interested in a snackable, higher-quality menu item. Over the next 10 years, BK's chicken fries would prove to be a popular menu item. It's been a permanent staple since 2014. And while many customers will tell you that chicken fries are their favorite, not everyone's a fan. Despite the promise of better quality meat, the poultry comes fully frozen, not fresh, according to one Redditor who claims to have worked at Burger King. For the rest of the day, or until someone orders them, they claimed the chicken fries sit in the open in a basket at room temperature. When a customer orders them, they go back into the fryer for 20 seconds to heat and give the illusion of being freshly fried. Downthread, another Redditor chimed in that they thought the fries always had a cooked yesterday texture. In another Reddit thread from 2023, a customer wrote, "They used to be delicious, but since they came back, they haven't been as good." It's natural to associate Burger King with the Whopper, which is BK's signature dish after all. Along with the Whopper, a slew of flame-grilled burgers populate the chain's menu. However, it's worth noting that BK beef patties arrive frozen and raw. That means it's imperative for employees to cook them all the way through, which allegedly doesn't always happen. On Reddit, one alleged former manager of a Burger King reported being told to toss the raw burgers and serve the cooked ones. But this fix would not necessarily work, since the cooked ones are mixed in with the inedible ones. The whole batch is potentially contaminated. Most of us surely know already that it's unsafe to consume uncooked ground meat, as it may cause foodborne illnesses. This safety hazard isn't the only reason Burger King employees may urge you to stay away from the burgers. Other staff members have reported understaffed locations with poorly cleaned broilers, and other burger cooking equipment needing more serious attention. Of course, this is a case of just one location, but it's worth giving your own local Burger King a once-over before ordering there again. If you've ever bought cheese from the supermarket and left it out for a long time, you've probably noticed it grows mold. That's because most cheeses are meant to be refrigerated.
More processed cheese, like the type typically used at Burger King, tends to be fine out of the fridge, though the USDA recommends putting it in the fridge to keep it better for longer. And fast food standards dictate that it needs to be replaced after a certain amount of time. According to one poster claiming to be a BK employee on Reddit, Burger King cheese has a 4-hour lifespan. When prepping for service, cooks place the cheese in a container and put a marker on it, indicating that it should be consumed or discarded within 4 hours. But that's not necessarily what happens at every location, according to the poster. One Quora user claimed that some Burger King employees are allegedly instructed to replace the markers with new ones. They added that cheese, tomatoes, onions, and other ingredients would routinely get reused from the previous day at her location. Much like other meats on the menu, Burger King's breakfast sausage is one item you may wish to avoid for a few reasons. One employee took to Quora and noted that it comes fully cooked and frozen. They shared that preparing it involves dipping the sausage patty briefly in the fryer until it reaches the right temperature for serving. It may cook in old or even downright dirty grease if the fryers have not been cleaned in a while. To top things off, one Redditor claims that their Burger King manager told them to reset timers for ingredients, including meat that went into fully prepped breakfast sandwiches that sometimes sat beneath a heat lamp until ordered. In the same thread, another purported employee said that it helps to ask for something to be made fresh when you order. You could also request a slight modification, such as changing condiments, which should mean the sandwich is made to order, though it doesn't necessarily mean the ingredients are ultra fresh, they admitted.
Little Caesars Hot and Ready deal can be a lifesaver for those days when there's just not enough hours for a busy family to get everything done. And hey, the kids always like pizza, right?
You're holding for pizza. And wasting your life. Yes, wasting your life.
Let's go to Little Caesars and grab a hot and ready pizza.
Don't listen to your wife.
Unfortunately, if you're tired of pizza, it turns out that Little Caesars' other options may not be the best choice, because according to the internet, if there's one thing you definitely shouldn't order at Little Caesars, it's their famous crazy bread.
Crazy bread.
In fact, one former Little Caesars manager took to Reddit to warn customers not only about the crazy bread, but the jalapeno bread and the Italian bread too. The problem was with the toppings that get smeared on the bread when it comes out of the oven, which they describe as something that is not butter. It's some nasty imitation that comes in a huge bottle and does not need to be refrigerated. Another Little Caesars manager chimed in to say that while there was nothing technically wrong with the imitation butter spread, it was extremely unhealthy. Exactly what this non-butter material is made of is unclear, but one Reddit expert also noted that even without that weird topping, the bread may not be healthy due to how the ovens are set up. Crazy bread cooked in the back or bottom belts of the oven could be overcooked, as those areas run hotter, while bread baked in other parts of the oven could be undercooked. In fact, many other Reddit baking experts weighed in to agree that they frequently thought their crazy bread was underdone. And to top it all off, you could make the same thing at home just as easily, according to a Reddit expert, since the bread is actually the same dough as the pizza crusts anyway, only basted in a load of garlic butter and pounded with Parmesan. So if buying the crazy bread is basically just throwing your money away, what's a hungry person to do? Well, there's always Little Caesars' signature chicken wings. Wait, chicken wings?
What the f does that have to do with pizza?
I don't know. Anyway, breakfast?
Okay, so it's true that chicken wings usually go pretty well with pizza, but according to more disgruntled former employees now posting anonymously on Reddit, you might want to skip the wings too. One Redditor claimed to have worked at Little Caesars when they first added chicken wings to the menu, and the experience they describe is anything but appetizing. They literally cook them in the same pan as our deep dish pizza for the same amount of time as the pizza, which is usually undercooked as well. First time I ever had raw chicken. Yikes. Raw chicken is no joke, and according to Mother Jones, the potential for getting sick from chicken that has been broken down, like those chicken wings, is much higher than it is from whole chickens. In 2018, 35% of chicken-producing facilities failed to meet Food Safety and Inspection Service guidelines for salmonella-free chicken, so it's still a big deal. And if that's not enough to dissuade you, a former Little Caesars manager also warns about the wings for another reason. Hot and Ready's and chicken wings have been known to sit in the warmer for hours at a time time until sold. While you don't expect a hot and ready pizza to be made to order, you can't have the best of both the ready-on-demand and freshly made worlds. Pizza that's been sitting a bit isn't necessarily a bad thing. You're probably going to heat it up once you get it home anyway, and then again the next morning for breakfast. And anyway, there's no such thing as bad pizza, right?
The usual. My favorite.
Okay, so maybe there is such a thing as bad pizza. Regardless, wings are one of those things that are so much better fresh. And if you're going to get them, you might as well get good ones, right?
I'll go turn the fryers back on and throw some wings in for you.
Hey, thanks, Helen. Tummy likey. Tummy want wingy.
And here's one final cautionary tale from an alleged former Little Caesars employee who took to Reddit to warn the unsuspecting masses. If you're tempted to order banana peppers, don't. Why? They just sit under the make table in the grimy corner and fester until somebody has the misfortune of ordering them. So remember the golden rule. If you're going to eat at a pizza place, order the pizza. Otherwise, you're just asking for trouble.
No calling? No waiting? There's no rules!
Let's just serve back on.
There's one rule!
Domino's is world famous for its pizza, but according to some employees, there's one thing you should never order from the chain's menu: sandwiches. Wait, Domino's has sandwiches? Actually, the fact that most people don't know Domino's even has sandwiches is one big reason you should never order them. As according to one Reddit user claiming to be a Domino's employee, the ingredients often go bad before they have a chance to be used. At Domino's, don't order the Philly steak or American cheese. It's only used on the sandwiches and one specialty pizza, so it usually goes bad. Usually, of course, the ingredients are thrown out once they have gone bad, but do you really want to risk getting food that's somewhere in the process of going bad? There's no one in the world that wants to eat steak and cheese that's gone past their prime after all, except maybe Oscar the Grouch.
I love it because it's trash.
Additionally, there are a lot of people on Reddit who are of the opinion that Domino subs just aren't worth it even when the ingredients are fresh. Why? According to one Reddit economics expert, it comes down to a simple cost analysis. They are priced too high to be worth it to me. You could get a medium pizza instead and have way more food. Sure, the pizza still costs a little more, but it's also bigger, which gives you the benefit of potentially having leftovers as well. And leftover pizza is great, especially compared to leftover sandwiches, which is something nobody wants. Like the president says, when you're hungry, you want pizza.
Jesus Christ, I'm hungry.
Plus, some Reddit taste experts believe the Domino sandwich is also subpar for the palate, not just the wallet. Sandwiches there remind me of something you'd get out of a vending machine. Open plastic packaging and microwave thusly. Others agreed, with another Reddit food critic saying their sandwiches taste really cheap, like it's all made of fake cheese and meat. And then another Reddit culinary expert opined that the bread is covered in some greasy oil butter stuff. There's a reason for that, though. Eat This Not That took a closer look at Domino sandwiches and found they can, at best, only loosely be described as sandwiches. Why? Because they're more accurately described as pizza toppings piled on strange bread.
The Italian was Domino's because it tastes like a pizza sandwich.
That greasy oil butter stuff coating the bread that Redditors found super disgusting is actually a combination of soybean oil and salt, which is just weird. Who wants slimy bread? Even worse than the texture is what it does to the nutritional numbers. Every one of those sandwiches comes loaded with a huge amount of sodium, with each sandwich containing close to the American Heart Association's whole daily recommendation for sodium intake. You're also looking at eating your daily limits when it comes to fat with most of these sandwiches. The healthiest option is the Mediterranean veggie, and it's really only healthy if you cut the 8-inch sub in half and save some for later, or share with a friend. It might be a different story if Domino's was the only chain in the sandwich game, but they're definitely not. There are so many other chains that are doing sandwiches, and doing them so much better, that there's really no reason to order a sub from Domino's if that's what you're really craving. Go somewhere that specializes in fresh ingredients and getting their subs right, and you'll dodge the regret that comes with ordering one from Domino's. That's not to say that Domino's didn't try. According to Ad Age, Domino's made a huge push with their sandwiches back around 2008, and when they debuted this particular addition to their menu, they were trying to become a serious player in the sandwich game.
Are you ready to turn to one of the nation's major pizza chains to order subs?
Here we go. Domino's is making a big bet that you are.
But in order to do that, they seemed to feel they needed to come up with something that no one else was doing. And while they did, they also inadvertently proved that just because something is different doesn't mean it's better.
Perhaps best known for its famous soup, salad, and breadstick deals, Olive Garden is an Italian franchise restaurant that serves your favorites in a somewhat casual setting.
And all you guys have seen Olive Garden ads, so you know the deal. Fun, casual. We really want to give the viewers that vibe that you're excited to be here.
In fact, their breadsticks are so famous that they've garnered tons of copycat recipes. And when it comes to the Olive Garden salad, even the Food Network has jumped in on the copycat train. According to CBS News, Olive Garden's slogan, "When you're here, your family," was synonymous with the brand until 2012, when the company ended the slogan's 14-year run. Today, the restaurant favors the more modern and concise slogan, "Go Olive Garden." As part of the Darden family of restaurants, Olive Garden is one of the better-known franchises, sitting beside Longhorn Steakhouse, Cheddar Scratch Kitchen, Yard House, The Capitol Grill, Seasons 52, Bahama Breeze, and Eddie V's. All of these spots are pretty well-known names in the restaurant world and cater to countless guests each year. And yet, despite the fame and their push to modernize and cater to their customers' needs, Olive Garden still has one issue when it comes to their salad, according to one former employee. So let's start with the good. Olive Garden salad is beloved by many patrons.
You know what? I like croutons. Can I just get a laundry basket of croutons?
The company is known for making sure its salads are crispy, fresh, topped precisely, and dressed in its signature Italian salad dressing. Olive Garden salads are also served family style. Dubbed a famous house salad, it includes crisp lettuce, tomatoes, olives, onion, and pepperoncini. Olive Garden salad is praised for that crisp texture, as well as its fresh quality. One eater critic opines that the salad and the toasted ravioli are the only two things of note on the menu. The eater critic goes on to praise Olive Garden salad for its hunks of iceberg and half moons of red onion, crumbly croutons, and what she calls exquisite dressing. The dressing, according to the company site, is a combination of a special blend of Italian spices, oil, and vinegar. Suffice it to say, people seem to like it. On TikTok, a former worker who goes by the name Spooky Shani shared her personal experience working at an Olive Garden for 10 years. In one video, she mentions that many claim to not feel well after eating at Olive Garden. In subsequent videos, the former worker states all the reasons she no longer eats there, including her former restaurant having a, quote, really bad slug problem in the soda fountain, and the supposed use of canned chicken in the never-ending pasta bowl. Specifically referring to the salads, Spooky Shani claims in another TikTok video,
"The salad is kept in the alley, and servers would go by and pick toppings out of the salad all day long with their fingers."
And if that wasn't bad enough, the TikToker goes on to allege they took sanitizing wipes, hand wipes, away from the Olive Garden servers, and so the majority of them are scraping plates and working and not washing their hands. And they're putting that in the salad, so not good. Furthermore, the former worker also claims she would regularly pick caterpillars and spiders out of the salad mix. So what are other former Olive Garden workers saying? Well, according to one former employee, the supposed freshness doesn't actually even expand far beyond salad. This ex-employee posted on Reddit that the bread is from a bakery. Meats are mostly frozen, as are pizza doughs, gnocchi, desserts, and most apps. Another former employee called out the chain for microwaving a ton of its food, writing on Reddit, "So much stuff is now microwaved. It's sad. When I first started, a lot more of the stuff was freshly prepared in some way. Even if it was steamed, any filled pasta was most likely nuked." While some of these stories seem too wild to be true, it's hard not to think it might be worth visiting another Italian establishment and splurging for something potentially more authentic, fresh, and sanitary. And in 2015, Eater reported that Olive Garden actually cut back on cleaning, noting that the Italian restaurant chain saved money by reducing their carpet cleaning efforts to once a month. So clearly, the Olive Garden isn't opposed to cutting corners to scrimp and save wherever possible.